What is happening, Magnus? Alrighty. Ooh, this sounds like some juicy news. Come on, Mike. Need you to work for me. Every few days, it wants to not work.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder.
Lots
of Marvel news to go over today. You might have heard that Marvel Studios is not attending San Diego Comic-Con this year, which might have come as a pretty big shock a couple of weeks ago. But since Marvel Studios just changed up their release schedule, pushing back Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, it's not so surprising. We also have news about another new Avengers team. Now, this specific Avengers team is an...
Who's the dude over here on the right? Was he playing the robot or something? Is he the director? Who is he?
An Avengers team from a different universe, not our main 616 universe. So we're not talking about Sam Wilson's Avengers team or Yelena's Avengers team, which is also the Thunderbolts, of course. This is a completely new one. And a new report that kind of goes hand in hand with this new Avengers team from a different universe is that we're going to see another Black Panther in Avengers Doomsday. And if the timeline is still the same...
It would be cool if they made Killmonger the Black Panther. I think they should have did that. I think they should have found a way to bring another Black Panther from a different universe or a different timeline or whatever. And Kashuri, she's smart enough to figure that out. So they should have brought him over, and it should have been Michael B. Jordan, a good guy, and with the same edge, though. That would have been cool.
In the MCU, which we assume it is not T'Challa's son, T'Challa II. It's a completely different Black Panther who is most likely going to be a variant. So like I said, a lot to dive into today. And if you're new and you love Marvel, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the...
By the way, that was a cool white outfit he had on in Black Panther 2. Remember when he was giving her the pep talk? I need that so I can sit around my house. I'm going to make a throne just to sit on it in that white suit. And I need a black one, too.
Latest news. So, like I said, there are two different reports that say a new Black Panther is going to show up in Avengers Doomsday, but the first one is coming from the scooper My Time to Shine Hello. According to her, a second Black Panther is reportedly set to appear in Avengers Doomsday. Now, we've been hearing for a while now, a lot of different insiders, that Marvel Studios does intend on introducing a new Black Panther. Shuri is our Black Panther.
Because nobody wanted Shuri as the Black Panther anyway. Everybody wanted them to recast Chadwick Boseman. Except they took that opportunity to do what everybody feared they would do. And they did it.
Panther right now, but basically what we've heard is Marvel Studios does intend on essentially recasting T'Challa. Originally, Kevin Feige decided not to do that to honor Chadwick Boseman's legacy. And while Chadwick Boseman was indeed amazing, we definitely miss him, and we can understand why...
What did they do to honor Thunderbolt Ross? Recasting.
Kevin Feige decided to do that. The importance of the character of T'Challa is being stressed by a very large amount of people who, even though they did love Chadwick Boseman, still want them to actually recast T'Challa to have a T'Challa and Black Panther in the MCU. So it looks like Marvel Studios has kind of decided that as well, possibly even changing their minds after they heard all of the fans. Now here's where it gets a little confusing when it comes to...
Hear the fans, they did.
New Black Panther. Obviously, Shuri, who is the current Black Panther, is going to be in Doomsday, and we assume in Secret Wars as well. And we don't know when Black Panther 3 is going to be released. Denzel Washington and Ryan Coogler have both confirmed it is happening. We just don't know when. But either way, it does look like Marvel Studios is intending on using the multiverse to give us a new T'Challa. And honestly, it works. It's a good plan, especially with this other report and the reboot coming up. because according to this other report, we are getting a new Avengers team from a different universe, and Black Panther is going to be a part of that team. This report is coming from the insider James Mackwell, who was the person who leaked the script for Multiverse of Madness before it was released, and when it was released, it was all confirmed to be true. Sticking with Black Panther, James mentioned a new Avengers team, and Black Panther was going to be one of those characters. And we assume Black Panther is T'Challa. So that's how we get a new Black Panther in the MCU. No, he's not going to be the one from our main universe, but with a soft reboot coming up, it looks like that's Marvel's solution to give us a new T'Challa. Because what happens in the comics and what we've seen in other events like Crisis on Infinite Earths is that when the big...
I think they should just make him Michael B. Jordan. I really do. Everyone loved him as Killmonger. I just think you put a little bit of a twist. I don't know whether he can do a African accent or not. But even if he can't, that's fine. He could have a different backstory. And basically, he's the Black Panther. I think that would really work.
Big event is over when the multiverse is destroyed and the new universe is created. The new universe consists of a lot of different characters from a lot of different universes, which is exactly how we're going to have a main universe consisting of the X-Men, the Avengers, and the Fantastic Four moving forward, finally. But in a lot of events, when the new universe is formed and now all of these new characters are together, nobody actually remembers the events that happened before. To them, they have been in that universe as long as they can remember. So basically, history is kind of rewritten for them in their own minds, and not just theirs, but to everybody's in that universe. So that would be a pretty, I wouldn't say easy because there's a lot that has to do with the multiverse, but that's a pretty good way to bring in a T'Challa as Black Panther in the MCU, because it really is T'Challa. It's not like it's a knockoff or anything like that. It's actually T'Challa. He just comes from a different universe. But a lot of characters, like the X-Men, and even as we've seen recently, the Fantastic Four, are going to come from other universes, but they'll be a part of the main story moving forward after Secret Wars. So that is seemingly how they're going to do this. And as far as what's going to happen to Shuri, who knows? Maybe she
I don't care.
Takes a step down, lets this new T'Challa, who possibly in her mind might actually be her brother due to the reboot, which I think might happen, but maybe she's one of the characters who doesn't make it past the reboot. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments down below. Now, the second part of that report of the new Avengers team is this. James Mackwell says...
Cosmic Wonder, that sounded like, this is Hollywood, baby. That sounded like, maybe she won't get past. She might get cut out. This is Hollywood, baby. Weird.
In Avengers Doomsday, we will see a team of Avengers formed in the X-Men universe, composed of variants that we know. I've heard about 4 characters who are part of this new Avengers lineup. A variant of Iron Man, a variant of Black Panther, Binary, Maria Rambeau, and Hank Pym, who will be known as Giant in this universe. Now, if this ends up being true in Avengers Doomsday, I actually think this is a really cool idea. Showing us a universe where these characters did exist together. The X-Men and the Avengers were in the same universe, just not ours, unfortunately. But that is coming up. But imagine the old X-Men movies that we saw with Professor X and Cyclops and Magneto and Storm.
You know what I hate about this idea, though? And they tend to do this in all types of TV shows and movies. They'll introduce these variants and they'll kill them all off to tie everything up neatly. Just like they did in Multiverse of Madness. When I first knew that they were going to be showing up, I was like, they're going to kill every single one of them, or most of them. Guaranteed. And what did they do? I hate that TV shows and movies do that. There are other ways to bring in variants without killing them off. So stupid.
Etc. They actually went on to have an Avengers team. We just didn't see it. But it will be cool to see how they interact with each other. And speaking of the actual team, if this is true and Binary / Maria Rambeau is a part of this team, then perhaps what we saw in the post-credit scene for the Marvels, Binary and Hank McCoy, aka
it was really
Beast,
weird right
perhaps
there.
that is our actual first look of the Avengers of that
jaw
universe
don't look
interacting with the X-Men of that universe. And it looks like they're playing nicely with each other, which we've heard might not happen when they make it over to our universe. There's a lot of reports. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I do want to address another character Iron Man. We've heard reports and rumors, of course, nothing
I hope it's Tom Cruise.
confirmed yet, but from the insiders, they've stated that Robert Downey Jr. isn't coming back just to play Doctor Doom, but he will indeed be playing variants of Iron Man, which
I hope he comes in and he doesn't call himself Superior Iron Man, but he says something like, you could say I'm superior. I hope that's what he does when he comes in.
Thing makes a lot of sense, and I think it would be pretty cool to see, actually. But you can let me know what you think about Robert Downey Jr. returning to play an Iron Man variant from the X-Men universe in the comments. Now, as far as Marvel's Hall H at SDCC is concerned, we are not getting one. In a Hollywood Reporter newsletter,
I don't care.
Heat Vision, they talked about how they were in attendance of that Fantastic Four First Steps test screening, and they do confirm there was a post-credit scene shown.
Only the real super duper fans know where I got I don't care from.
They state, when the lights went down and the picture came up, audiences were surprised to learn that the Fantastic Four First Steps would be the evening's entertainment. Marvel topper Kevin Feige and director Matt Shakman were in attendance for the movie, which did include a post-credit tag. So for those who have been wondering, I've seen a few comments, if it was actually shown or if it's just some people saying it was shown, confirmed. Unfortunately, in this newsletter, we also hear this. Test screenings aside, Fantastic Four opens the Friday of San Diego Comic-Con, and this year, Marvel will break with tradition and not have its infamous senses-shattering Saturday evening Hall H panel. They state, with Avengers Doomsday pushing out to December 2026, Marvel now has another SDCC before the film's theatrical release. The cast of Avengers Doomsday is currently in production, and it didn't feel like the right timing for a Hall H panel. At least, that was the thinking inside the company. Now, if you are attending San Diego Comic-Con, they do state that Marvel is still going to have a really big presence. We aren't getting our Hall H panel for them, but you'll see them a lot on the floor. They say they'll have a really big booth there with a Fantastic Four kind of immersive experience. So if you're going, be sure to check that out. But
I don't care.
Besides what they stated in this newsletter, which is what we all assumed due to the delays they're not attending San Diego Comic-Con, on top of that, I think they're actually still trying to figure out their release schedule. We just heard Bob Iger isn't pleased with the 2026 release slate, wanting another Marvel movie in there somewhere, which hasn't really been mentioned of if that's going to happen or not. But he's upset that they only have essentially one movie that they fully own the profits to, Avengers Doomsday, while
I don't care. If he had have listened to the fans and given us what we wanted, he wouldn't be in this predicament.
Spider-Man Brand New Day, they don't make as much because they don't own the rights to Spider-Man. Sony does, so Sony gets a pretty big cut. I also think they're still deciding where they want to put Doctor Strange 3, Shang-Chi 2, Thor 5, maybe a Scarlet Witch project. I think they're deciding what they want right now. And we've heard that they are still working on the script for Avengers Doomsday, which directly affects Avengers Secret Wars, and it also would affect anything that's happening in between. So due to the fact that it seems like the overall multiverse saga story is still being written, that's why they're not going to have a presence this year. They're still trying to figure it out, and I, for one, am personally okay with this. I'd love for them to have a panel and reveal some stuff, but not if it's going to lock them into something they don't want to do. I'd rather them take their time to give us the best possible story ever. The best it can be, at least. I don't know about you, but that's how I feel. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I understand your feelings, Cosmic Wonder. I understand them well. Make sure you get on over to the Cosmic Wonder and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. So what do you think about this? Are you looking forward to the new Black Panther and Iron Man? I, personally, am. 10 million subscribers. Woo! I got a bald head.